WileyPlus has a wide variety of drag and drop objects. They have many shapes. As you hover over them, they'll tell you what they are. Semicircle, a different oriented semicircle. This is a parabola or part thereof, and another parabola. Let's drag them each out there and look at them. So this one's a semicircle. This one's a semicircle, just the right half. This one's not the full parabola, it's just the right half of a parabola, and this is the top half of a parabola. All of these shapes are going to have a drag and drop dot. So you grab this dot and you drag it to where you know you need that dot to be. So in that gray box, you can see the coordinates of that dot. As I move the dot, I can see the coordinates moving. So up here for the semicircle, I click on the semicircle, I get that dot back. So I can move the semicircle. You usually don't need them all at once. Clear can get rid of them. So if I decide I want the right half of a semicircle, I drag it out there, I grab the dot, I click on that dot, I drag my mouse until those coordinates are what I want them to be, then I let go. If you want to check the dot without moving the semicircle, just hover your mouse over the dot. You don't have to click to see what the coordinates are of that key point. Those key points vary with the kind of shape. Let's look at some more. This exercise has some things we've seen before. It's got the line, just like you've seen before. It looks like it has the same parabola you've seen before, but when you drag it out there, it's different. It has two dots. So let's drag the vertex where we want it to be. It doesn't really matter. It's not what I'm trying to show you. So I put the vertex where I want it to be. I click on the other dot thinking that other dot should be up here, and if I grab the dot, I move the whole thing up, and the vertex is no longer where I wanted it to be. So if that happens, then place the vertex where you want it to be. Don't click on the dot, click on the curve away from the dot. When you click on the curve away from the dot, the scale tool becomes available. Click on the scale tool. Now when you bring your mouse back over the curve, it changes into the box with the arrows. And once it does, you grab the curve away from the dot, drag straight up and straight down, and you can reshape your curve by just dragging the curve up and down. You can check the coordinates of the second dot to make sure you've got that second point where you need it to be. If you're wrong, just stretch it up or stretch it down. Drag the curve itself, not the dot, until you get that dot where you want it to be. If you make a mistake and click on the dot, then the scale tool has been turned off. So if you need it back, just click on the curve away from a dot, click back on the scale tool, and notice the cursor is back into the box with the arrows that lets you stretch your curve. This object also can use the scale tool. So if I click on the curve away from the dot, click on the scale tool, I get the box with the arrows that lets me stretch it. Last object, even though it's in here with objects that use a scale tool, it doesn't have the scale tool available. I can click on the curve away from the dot, but I don't get the scale tool. So this one, all I can do is take this key point and drag this key point to where I need it to be. Sometimes you don't get those guiding dots. And so here, where you're just looking at some general tendencies, you look for the one that matches the shape you know it ought to be from your knowledge of what the problem's asking you to do, and then just look some key points on that curve to make sure you plot it correctly. Let's get rid of that guy. So what if this is the right shape? Then you just move it around until you've got the endpoints, the local maxes and mins where you know they should be.